want to take a step, like a lateral step real quick from what we're talking about. When you are in the trenches of brutal combat, running through caves in Afghanistan or jumping out of helicopters, and
We
you
all did.
have, yeah, like,
All the SEAL team guys did that stuff.
and you have your night vision goggles on in the middle of the night, and you're running through someone who blasted a hole in a wall. You said that you felt like you and your fellow SEALs were just souls next to each other fighting against other souls, and you felt disconnected from your bodies.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me a little bit more what that means?
When you describe that in words, when you really get into it and you're just doing that, when you're in the midst of it, when you're in the midst of, like, let's say this is like a football team, let's say it's the soccer team, let's say it's anything else. When you're in the middle of that crucial, that last, you have 10 seconds left and it's a tie game. And then that last play starts and it's only going to last for 6 or 7 seconds or 10 or 15 seconds, whatever it might be. That 15 seconds, make that entire episode last for about an hour, where time starts slipping away. You don't know where you are and whatever's going, and you don't see people anymore. You just see movement. You see things happening. You see the world expanding in front of you, kind of in slow motion, but critical. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Kind of
It
like
just turns.
a
It's a blur. Just like everything, you just go on instinct and you're just going and going, and you don't really. So if I looked over at David Goggins, who was in one of my platoons, he was a new guy when I was chief, I think.
oh,
And
really?
yeah, so I put him through a lot of training. I'm in his book in a few different places. I think whenever he talks about the chief, a lot of times he's talking about me in that book.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Okay.
was the one. I was the one in Goggins' book that we have lockers. We have these huge lockers where you put all your equipment. And I basically locked all their lockers up and I made them live out of bag. So they had a bag of all their stuff in front of this giant locker where they could have spread out and organized and cleaned everything up. And they were living out of like 2 bags. I didn't let them
Jeez.
have a locker. I said, no, you're a new guy. You don't deserve a locker yet. You haven't earned it. And they go, what do you mean? That's just messed up, chief. Why do you, it's just like cruel and unusual punishment. You're such an asshole. Can I say asshole?
Oh, of
So
course. You can
they
say
did.
anything. Yeah.
They called me an asshole. It was like I was an asshole. And I told him, I said, no, just live out of the bag. And when you guys have earned the privilege to use that cage, and the cage was like 6 feet by 6 feet, had hooks all over and racks, and you hang everything up. You can wash stuff down, spread it out. You can clean. You can sleep in your cage. They're big cages. You can sleep in them with hammocks, which people do all the time. Because we
Wow.
work so late sometimes, you want to catch an hour or 2 hours of sleep, you do it in your cage. You put your hammock up and sleep. They're big cages where you spread out. They're nice. And basically, I made them live out of 2 backpacks. It was like small. It's like, dude, you cannot have anything else. What you need is in those backpacks. Organize it, live out of them. And they did that for a while. I can't remember how long it was, a few weeks. It sucked because every evolution we had to go on, they had to repack them up and have them ready and I'll inspect them. You know, let's go. We have 10 minutes, get everything ready. Let's go. And
Hmm.
all the old guys walk in their big lockers and put everything and put it together. And it was easy because you had everything spread out. You could see it all.
Hmm.
So after 3 weeks out of living out of a bag for David Goggins, I said, all right, put everything in the lockers if you want to and organize your stuff and get it spread out. Do what you got to do. And they're like, all right on. And then like 2 days later, they're all spread out. It's all good. And I said,
Yeah.
hey, we have 10 minutes, pack up, get everything ready, go. And get in the truck and load out. We have to do a recon mission. We're in the water. Get your fins, get your stuff. It's going to be really cold and we got to get on an airplane and fly out and do a mission. We're like, all right. So all those new guys, David Goggins included, they were like, zip, zip, zip. Everything's in the bag, and they were in the truck waiting in like 3 minutes. And all the old guys are going, what do I need? Wait, we need fins, and where are my freaking fins? I got to do that. I got to get that. And the older guys took 3-4 times longer. You know why? Because I made those guys live out of the bags for 3 weeks. They were organized. They had exactly what they needed to have all the extra stuff. They had it totally organized and ready to rock and roll at a second notice. All those guys did when they walked into the lockers, they went toot toot, grabbed a couple bags and walked out. They were sitting in the truck waiting for everybody else.
Where was it? Where were you guys during this?
That was
This
at
part.
SEAL Team 5. That was when I
And
was in SEAL Team 5. But
SEAL Team
basically
5.
what happens is we get lazy, we get disorganized, we have the stuff, we have too much stuff. I have 3 sets of fins. So I have to go, well, which set of fins? What's the mission? What's that? All the new guys, they had 1 set of fins, they had 1 mask, they had everything set, they had everything there, everything they needed specifically. how cold it's going to be, what's the mission, what's that going to be. They know exactly what to get. Poop, poop, poop. They're done. We had to get on a submarine and say, hey, we only have enough room for one bag. Everybody pack out one bag to live on a submarine for a week and a half to do these 3 missions. And the new guys are like, zip, zip, zip. David Goggins, everybody's ready. They're sitting on the truck waiting for all the old guys. Because we had too much stuff. We were too disorganized. We didn't know what to bring. We were like, yeah. I mean, it didn't take forever. They did it in like 2 minutes. It took us like 10 minutes. It took us longer because we had too much stuff. It was a little spread out. It was like, So just get used to having everything in a couple of bags, be organized, be ready to rock and roll. That's life. Life is like that when you start thinking about people living in a tiny house, or somebody downsizing, or somebody living in a freaking 3,000 or 4,000 foot mansion. You say, hey man, you're going to be isolated out there. You're going to do this. You have to go camping for a week. Pack up. You have 10 minutes. The person that lives in a 3,000 foot mansion and has 15 pairs of boots and just stuff all over. Or we got a person that lives in a freaking tiny house that's, 200 square feet and has only what he needs. It's a whole different way to live.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to practicing discipline.
Well, what was your question? Well, I can't remember.
I don't remember what my question was.
Matter?
I think no, it doesn't matter. I think we were
No,
originally. Well, originally what I was trying to get at was the analogy of you guys being souls next to each other when you were out there fighting. Yeah. And it's was it kind of like a flow state where you were just disconnected from your body and you were just so tuned into that moment that everything
was. That's a perfect example that I just talked about. Was me making all the new guys live out of the bags.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, you're new guys. Live out of the bags, learn how to do it. Did it matter if you're black or white, if you're Asian, Latino, if you're European descent, if whatever you were, did it matter? No, you're a freaking new guy. All of you live out of the bags, learn it equally. When you get to a level, okay, here's your lockers, all at the same time. If somebody wasn't getting it quick enough, then the other guys would help them out and we'd all get up to that level. And so no matter who you are, what you are, as a SEAL, after 2 or 3 platoons and after doing all these deployments, after running a ton of missions, all the attributes of you as a person kind of fall away because you're all operating at such a high level for so long. You don't think about, David Goggins is a black dude, and Kristin Beck, I'm a white. I'm a female now. It's like none of that matters because we worked so hard at such a high level. You don't think about that stuff. It doesn't count anymore. What counts is what you've been doing for the team and how long you've been doing it and what's your position in the team. You're the quarterback, I'm the lineman, and we all work hard at the same level. So we all get up to that level. It doesn't matter if I was a Christian, Muslim, if I was a Buddhist, if I was whatever. None of that matters. It matters what you are in the team. You're the quarterback, you're the lineman. I don't care about any other stuff. Oh, you're a female? Who cares, man? Just you're part of the team and now you're the linebacker. Go be a linebacker. And if you're not a good linebacker, you're going to get fired. If you can't do them 30 pull-ups, sorry. We'll give you another shot, but you fail it again, you're off the team because we can't have you there because you're going to get everybody else killed. So that's what it was like souls. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
Was that all the attributes of you as a person, you don't see any of that anymore. The stuff that you see it's day to day in America, the prejudice against somebody for being black or for being female or being Latino happens a lot nowadays. For being Asian. So if you're from Asia, you're from Southeast Asia, you're from wherever you're from, you see prejudice every day.
Yeah.
But when you're in combat, none of that stuff counts.
Right. And especially from the time that you served. What year did you retire?
I retired in 2011.
2011. From the time from that time when you were serving, especially till now, I mean, obviously the 60s, there was a huge movement going on, but between then and now, things have changed culturally as far as like social justice warriors and, the way people react to different things online and the division of politics has changed so much.
Let's get into social justice for 1 second.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So social justice, what does that actually mean? And was it even something that people worried about back in the 1950s? Heck yeah. And that's why we had so many movements. We had so much stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to relate to something else in a second. But then think about politicians. And everybody's yelling about term limits, and they're saying that we need to have term limits because these politicians have been in office for so long and they're totally out of touch with the people. They do that and that. And so we already have term limits. It's called your vote. Every 2 years, a term limit for a congressperson. It already exists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because the guy's a good congressman or because everybody loves him and they all vote for him, does that mean that we as a people that don't live in his congressional district, we need to say, well, the rest of the country doesn't agree with your congressional district and we want to go against what they voted for and he shouldn't be able to serve past 10 years? No, we already have term limits every 2 years for that guy. Now, if all the people in that district are voting for the guy, then that's what they did. And the same thing with social justice. Do you think we have social justice? I think we have social justice just like we have term limits for congresspeople. We vote, we go out when you act, we make stuff happen. But the problem is like the social justice isn't uniformly distributed. It's there. Do you know what I mean? And now
Sort of.
is it the right thing for us to systematically or artificially flatten the entire earth to make social justice equal in Antarctica as it is equal in South America or Chile or Argentina or Russia or China or the United States or Canada? Should we flatten all the justice out across the entire spectrum of the world against all the spectrums of cultural upbringing, against all the spectrums of religion, religious freedom, hereditary, against you name it? Would that be fair?